I'm Julie Donaldson, and you are watching Ref the District.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to After the Whistle here on Ref the District, where we go beyond sports and really get to know the person we're talking with. And today's guest is none other than Julie Donaldson, the Senior Vice President of Media and Content for Washington Commanders. First, Julie, how great does it feel to have a name attached to your title now instead of just the Washington football team?
No, I liked the Washington football team. It was day 3 of when I took this job that they said, we're going to be retiring our old name and we're going to be moving forward with the Washington football team. And I would hope that would stay. I think there are a lot of people in the organization probably hoped that would catch on and people would want it. I think it's clean. It's classic. It has a little bit of nostalgia to it of this, old school team with a new fresh twist. But the fans wanted something that they felt that they could identify with a little bit more. And so we began that process. It was a 2-year process. I still have a hard time getting the Commanders. I've done some seminars and conferences a lot over the past few days, and it just doesn't flow out yet. I'm still I'm Julie of the Washington football team. And so it's still going to take some time, with everybody, and it's everything. It takes some time to adjust to a new name and a new look.
Does. Well, a lot of people are pretty excited about the look, maybe not so much about the name. Now, that is a little bit in your wheelhouse as the media and content person for Washington. We're familiar with you, and I think a lot of Washington Commanders fans are, but could you explain your role as the senior VP for media and content for the Commanders?
Yeah, so I head up all of our broadcast department. So all of our programming that goes on your televisions, the linear programming, everything that goes over on the radio, all the stuff that we are streaming as well, as we do a lot of that. And then making sure that all of that content has extra life. So it goes on digital platforms, social platforms, and anything that is put out content wise, just to have a say in it, to make sure that it's something that we think will resonate with the fans, that will show the team and what we're doing, the hard work we're doing, and tell the story of the players in a way that kind of make them relatable, but also, holds them accountable to what they're putting out there on the field. So I'm also hosting all of those shows, and I'm also in the booth on game day as still the first and still the only female to have a full-time position in the radio broadcast booth on game day. So thank you. Yes. It kind of still blows my mind a little bit. We see so much with Jennifer King out there in everything she's doing. She's my God, I'm the first for everything. And hopefully soon that quickly changes the narrative as we get more used to women in these roles because they're credible and they're doing darn good jobs.
So Julie, I'm going to transition just a little bit, and we got to kind of get this question out there because I think it's important to our audience, to Washington Commanders fans and everything. Well, what you've been, like you said, you've been with the team for a couple of years now as far as working for them. You've been associated with the team for at least 10 years, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of, what's going on inside and outside the team. What is it that you wanted to put out there in terms of what's going on with the reports and the releasing of the reports and sort of what's going on with the whole environment within the organization?
I was brought to be a part of the change, to be a part of impacting a better work environment for those that were there. And one of the reasons that I did take this job is because I knew that there are already good people within the organization that deserve to be recognized for the work and the hard work that they are doing. And I know that it was charged with me, from Dan and Tanya Snyder to say, we've got to get this right. We don't make apologies for what happened yesterday, but we have to get it right going forward. And there's times where I've even heard Tanya Snyder going out there. She's like, what happened? She's like, now that we realize it, there are no excuses for it. And it disgusts anybody and everybody that was a part of that. So we want to move forward from that. We've been working really hard with some really great people that are in place, making sure that those mistakes don't get to happen again. Are we perfect? No. Do we have challenges we're still up again? Yes. But I'll tell you this, there are plenty of people that if any woman or man is being not taken for what they should for their hard work, or inappropriate language or comments being made for them, we will raise our voices, and that will not happen. There's no place for it. To my understanding, that is non-existent at all. So we have made a better environment for that. as far as how we can go about getting the jobs done in a way that's respectable. We're making sure that there's protocols in place for those people to be able to have the opportunities to go to work hard, be proud of the work that they are doing, and be able to celebrate being part of a franchise that we know doesn't have the best past because of that, but are we making a better future? So I love a lot of my colleagues that I'm working along with. I respect the hard work that we are doing, and I'm really excited, for the direction that we are going in. Not excusing anybody's experience there, their experience, they deserve to be validated for what they went through. But I just know that we're working really hard to make sure that that experience then never repeats itself today or tomorrow.
Very nice. All right, Julie, I want to take it back way back in the day. And before we got on the show, you mentioned Florida Gators. You were 2001 Miss Florida USA.
Yes.
Can you describe how'd you go about doing that? How hard is pageant work? Like, how did that come about?
So it's funny. I was talking to my dad about this the other day. I mean, I was not your pageant girl growing up. My mom would put a dress on me and I'd be climbing trees and racing the boys and trying to stand on the handlebars of the bike. She's like, that's not going to work. We need to put her in some Oshkosh Bigosh and let her go and play with the mud.
Gosh.
Since we're throwing it back. But what my dad found is I have an older sister and a younger, so there's three of us girls. And he had heard that putting a woman through a pageant helps them gain a certain amount of confidence in who they are, knowing that your entire life you're going to be up to the judgment of others and the scrutiny of others. And he wanted us to stand tall in who we are and what talents we've been blessed with innately from our Creator. So he put my older sister through that and found out that it did. While she went through it, she's like, hey, Mom, you know what? I put myself out there to be judged, and it didn't impact who I am or what I stand for. And so it kind of gave this extra air of confidence. Plus, it also teaches you kind of how to interact with people, how to walk into a room, how to have certain conversations that, maybe you might not be trained to have as much of without going through a process that does formal training for that. So they put me through it, and I don't really have much of a talent. My sister plays the piano. She's a dancer. I just kind of flubbed my way through, but I apparently have made a living off of talking. I like talking.
Yeah.
I was like, gotta keep it real. And so I did. And I happened to win my high school pageant, went on to compete at the all North Florida area, happened to win that Miss Senior High. And then I competed at Miss Florida USA, where you could take talent out of it since I couldn't really sing or dance very well. And it was just, less present who you are as a woman. And I was first runner up. I'm like, okay, I'm done. That's it.
Right.
We've done enough pageants. And they convinced me to go back a second year. And I think I had just learned a little bit more about how to, present, how to, things that I just wasn't as aware of. I didn't know how to put on makeup. I didn't know how to curl my hair. As you see, I love a pony. I live in a pony. I didn't know how to walk in high heels. And they're like, nope, you're spending your lunch break walking up and down the stairs in high heels so you don't fall and embarrass yourself.
Did you get a talent for the second year?
No, this didn't require any talent. I just learned how to be a little bit more graceful, possibly. But I don't think that I have too much of that in life. But if given need be, I can probably run a 40 in high heels.
Hey, let's go.
And so I won, and I had the opportunity to compete at Miss USA, and it was a wonderful experience. Made some great friends, and still do to this day. But I always thought it was a little bit of a cop out. It's like, okay, what is she good at? Oh, she won a pageant. And I'm like, okay, so I can smile and wave with the best of them,
Right.
But, and I didn't ask for world peace. I asked for probably a convertible is what I want.
Thank you. And so so winning a pageant, does that get you any special treatment after you've won? Are you just have free tickets to go to other pageants or what is it?
The package deal of what I won was probably worth over $20,000 of things. And a lot of what I'm doing because there's scholarship tied to them.
Gotcha.
So you can get a lot of money for your education for that.
Nice.
I didn't have that I won, but there are plenty of things that I walked away with, pieces of jewelry that I still cherish to this day.
Hey.
But it brings you into a little bit of a sisterhood, and it's kind of for those that play in the NFL, they always talk about how it's a brotherhood. It's a little bit of a sisterhood, but and the women would sometimes surprise you. Sure, there's maybe some divas, but for the most part, the women are very ambitious. They're very career driven. They're very well put together, obviously, and they're kind of, a lot of them are a bit no nonsense. So kind of surprises you maybe a little bit like that. I mean, I don't think that I'm the typical pageant girl, but there's a lot of them that just like me as well.
That's cool. All right,
guys.
Now
even further.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you pushed it.
Do it.
I'm going back even further because there are 3 of us here. 2 of us, or one of us, went to high school in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm not going to tell you which one. But it's not Trev or Nathan. So you can kind of figure that out.
All right, Stoner, let's go. Where were you?
So, all right. So I'm going to try and guess where you went to school. This is so inside geeky. Yeah, that's right. But
that was our high school. That didn't come out until after high school, though, right? That came out because the Jags weren't there for me then.
Yeah, they weren't. Exactly. They were not there when I was there. However, so I'm going to guess which school you went to. But before I do, at least give me this. Were you on, the ocean side? Were you out that way?
Well, this is going to be tricky for you, Stoner, because I went to 2 high schools.
Okay.
Okay. Right. One would be complete opposite of the ocean side.
Okay.
And the what is it? The Jacksonville River side, opposite of that.
Yeah. All right.
The other would be pretty much closest to the river.
Okay. I don't know. I'll be able to figure that out.
You can get one and you'll win.
Yeah.
Wait, so you got west side, right? So it's probably you were west side. So I'm going to just say Orange Park.
But remember, I'm a smart cookie.
Oh,
I just gave you
some clue in there, but
that's a curveball, bro.
How about you went to one of them was like the Bulls school?
No, I didn't have to pay for it.
Oh, okay, so you didn't have to pay for it. All right, but was one of them Orange Park?
No.
No,
for 2, Stoner. 0 for 2.
Yeah, 0 for 2, bro.
Tell us which high school
you were on the lines with Bulls. There was a certain protocol to be able to go to this school, so it wasn't just for anybody. But again, you had to be a smart cookie to be there.
That's
why Stoner
I'm a little
doesn't
bit
know
too
about
old. Yeah,
it might not have been around for you, depending on how old you are. This school might not have existed when you were there.
Oh man, okay. All right, give us which schools they were then.
So I first went to Stanton, which is a college prep school. So you had to test in.
Oh yeah, that's Stanton Prep. That's right. Okay.
And that is way downtown. I mean, that took me like an hour on the bus to get to school. But it was like the number one was rated one of the top high schools in all of the country because it was a college prep, and everybody was like baccalaureate, and they'd be like ticked off they got an A-, and I'm sitting here like struggling to get like a C or a B+ or anything. And I was like, Mom, I want just like kids that I can relate to. So then I graduated Terry Parker.
Oh, Parker High. Okay. Very good. I graduated from Forest High School. It was called Forest High School at the time. It is no longer called that. I think it's called West Side High School or something like that.
No, it was Forest when we would play you guys.
Yeah. Yep. We weren't very good at anything, but Forest High School, named after Nathan Bedford Forrest, Civil War general, and by the way, founder of the Ku Klux Klan, which is why they eventually named it. I mean, every year they tried to change it and never could. And then finally they were able to change it. So thank goodness. So
I was a cheerleader on the Braves, and we used to go down to St. Augustine, and we would had this like little get up that had the tassels and was kind of a little bit like an Indian costume, and we get moccasins. And no, they don't do that anymore either. So just their own cheerleading uniforms.
Progress. We're all making progress, just like you talked about earlier.
Progress is good. Progress is needed, and progress is needed for the Washington Commanders QB situation, which I know you don't actually have anything to do with, right? You're not in control of that. However, you had yourself a little fun.
Mayhew is calling me every week to see what quarterback I want. I already heard I see him in the hallway, and he's like, "What do you think, Julie?" You know, like, I don't have anything to say.
You did have yourself a little fun at the Pro Bowl with the Seahawks mascot that gained yourself some notoriety there as well. What was all that about? What were you thinking?
I mean, so The Seahawks mascot had just saw a camera and a microphone and picked up, was having some fun with it. And so I was like, well, I can have fun, and walked up and was like, you want to interview me? And, I thought, I asked him if we were going to get Russell Wilson, and then I found that that's considered tampering. So I got,
Oh, you
Oh,
got a
did
little
you?
heat for that.
Did you get a little
Oh,
ridicule
I
for
didn't know
that?
you got some heat. Oh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I represent the team, and
Yeah,
Russell's
that's
under
true.
contract.
Yeah.
Russell's under contract.
That's
He's not available. So while the
true.
fans would love to see that,
Oh,
there's protocols we have to follow. So,
damn.
it's process
was
of
a lot of
learning
fun.
because, if I was at NBC Sports Washington, that's still like I was for 10 years, that would have been great. But, now that you
Mhm.
work for the team, I'm still learning in this job things that I can and can't do, or the rules are different. The rules are very different for me now than they had been the majority of my career. So you just got to continue to learn and grow with them.
So with your career, I've noticed that you've been an NBC affiliate pretty much your whole broadcasting career, right? You've only worked with NBC pretty much.
Basically, yeah.
How did you come about once you discovered you like to talk? How did you discover you want to talk sports, and how did you get into that?
Well, I told you I was a little bit of a tomboy, so it was just kind of more of a
Right.
natural fit. But unfortunately, like most, and this is what I kind of, I guess it ticks me off a little bit if I really think about it. People feel a woman can only get into sports first if she played it or her dad did.
Mhm. Mhm.
Otherwise, you don't really have a role. Like, no, how many people like would have that? Yeah, I was a tomboy and I have other things, but I didn't necessarily play anything. But I've always loved sports, and I loved everything about sports. I loved the sacrifice and the dedication and how you get to that 1% of the 1% and the stories that go into that. I love that you come together and you put everything aside on a Sunday, political views, religious views, and you come together for that 2 to 4 hours, and you're cheering right along with people you might be fighting with on Monday. And it brings people together. It's an escape from the stress of their lives. And I've always just really, I feel like we get beaten down enough in society with things left and right that just take their toll on us. And I love that this is the complete opposite. It's something where, you go to because you want to be there and you want to cheer and you get emotional with it. So I just always loved everything about it. And so it was just really a natural fit. And it's just learning the language and, forging my way and telling great stories throughout that process as well.
Did you have to change the way? I'm sorry, Stoner. Did you have to change the way you talk or change the way some of your mannerisms as well, or does it just come natural?
Did you have a Florida accent?
Yeah. Did you have to go through enunciation classes or
You mean that I used to talk really high pitched and now I need to talk with a lower bass?
Yeah. Did you have to change
like
anything? Or they just said, "Hey, here's a microphone. Be you." Did you have to change anything?
Well, look, I think it's just like any craft or skill set, any career that you go into, you're going to learn certain tools and skill sets that are going to allow you to be more successful as you advance. So early on, I talk a lot with my hands. Well, it was a little too much, people getting distracted. So you learn to talk only with your hands when you want to make a specific point. Some people blink too much and that's distracting. Some people bobble their head too much. And so you definitely have to learn, just certain things in the presentation of doing broadcast that I think, you acquire. As far as, speaking, I did listen to my high school pageant. My parents had it on VHS, go figure.
Oh, yeah.
When I was recording, I was like, man, I said, my voice definitely was higher. Maybe it lowers as you mature, but it was always, I think, a little bit lower for a female to begin with. And I did have a little bit of a twang because, Tony, you might know Jacksonville's a little country.
Sure.
But my parents
Not
are
a
from
little.
Michigan. It's a lot country, Southern Georgia, right? But my parents are from Michigan. They just hate the cold weather. So they moved south. And, so actually when I would work with agents, they couldn't place my accent because I'd say pop and soda, they're like,
oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's just learning to hone your craft,
Right.
Julie, my parents are from Michigan. I swear. We're like this. We're like this. Oh my God, your parents are from Michigan, mine are.
Here?
Oh yeah, so I'm down in Jackson.
Okay, my parents were, my dad was in Detroit.
Hey, Nathan,
Let's
just get out of here, man. Let's just get out of here and let's start it.
It's the two of them at this point.
All right, so actually I'm going to put you on the spot here real quick. So Dan and Tanya and Jason get you in a room and they say, Julie, the stadium location is up to you. You get to decide, not where is it best for anybody else. Where is Julie Donaldson putting that stadium?
Oh, downtown, right where downtown, right where and I mean, and maybe it's not RFK, but it's definitely like where that area is. And I think everybody wants that area. It's just a matter of, what politics come into play, what business comes into play. But if you're going to be representing Washington, and that's the reason why our nation's capital here is you pull from Maryland and Virginia, no better place than to be in the district.
Okay. I like that. I'm all for that.
But again, they didn't call me up and ask my personal opinion.
Yeah, we gotta get you on that list. We gotta get you on that list.
Well, I'm gonna continue the trend of putting you on the spot here. You mentioned earlier that you could potentially do a 40, in heels. Combine's coming up. Run, Rich, Run is coming up. Are you gonna do 40 dash for Rich and heels?
Well, I could for that because I'm always doing. I'm even running up for. I just nominated myself to be part of Woman of the Year for the Leukemia Lymphoma Societies. I've lost two dear friends growing up for that. So thank you. I'm on their board and they kept asking me to do this, but I know it's a huge task. So I know that in order for me to be successful within this campaign, which means we're raising money for finding cures for cancer, you got to do anything and everything you can to help support, anybody that's out there that's doing that. So I would want someone to support me if I pick up something. So yes, I would run a 40 in high heels to support.
You heard it here first.
Yeah,
Julie.
Right.
I might pick my DC heels, which have a 2-inch heel compared to my Friday night heels that are like, more like 4 inches.
Meets the requirement. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to Commanders talking on the field now, Julie. You obviously do play-by-play, so you see the team every single day and what's lacking and what's not.
Well, Brand Watson does actual play-by-play. So.
True, you're right, but you're part of that team. Sorry about that. So, what do you think, in your personal opinion, is the biggest need outside of quarterback for the Commanders to take that next step? On which side of the ball?
That is toughy.
I mean, I just went to instantly 3 different position groups all at once.
There you go.
Right.
Sam.
We are building and it takes extra time. Instantly, if you're gonna get the quarterback and that could be your big main move, you have to give him support. Mm-hmm. And so you have to have, first off, you have to hold him up and give him time. So that O-line needs some help. We'll see what happens with Brandon Sheriff. Obviously, he's come at a high price. But he's just been, outstanding on that line in so many different facets and ways. I think the offensive line was really underrated this year for the work that they did. How many different players they had to go through and rotate through. And, I think Taylor Heineke also, the fact that he could use his legs that well kind of assisted in that a good little bit. Right. So, the fact that he was mobile, but you definitely need help there, but then I want to see what does it look like? How much help does Curtis Samuel actually offer Terry? You have to have, but today I feel like you have to have 3 threats at wide receiver.
Yeah, you do.
It's not just 2, you need 3. So you got Terry, you can get Curtis out there. Can De'Ami Brown really be that guy? Right now, not yet. He hasn't shown us that. But I know that they have hopes for that. But do you need to also bring in this other really just ridiculous, scare the hell out of you, receiver that defenses have to strategize against, And right now, outside of Terry, I don't know that we have that. Look, you love Logan. You love Logan Thomas and what he can do if he's healthy and he's out there. And you saw how big of a loss he was, and especially in the red zone being that big body. But yeah, and then a defense. I think we definitely need linebacker.
Yes.
And I'm even wanting to know what about that secondary?
Yeah, Julie, keep it going. Thank you, Julie. That's why we got you here, Julie. Let's go. We need a new secondary, Julie. We need yes.
But look, when you have the season that we did of just 7 wins and 2 seasons in a row of just 7 wins, there's a lot of areas that we need development, improvement, and adding talent to. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah, you're right.
Julie, I'm going to bring it back to the rebranding real quick about when the name came out. And you guys did a great job. I think you did a great job of keeping it under wraps for so long that it didn't leak officially.
Did we?
Until the night before.
No, Julie's right. Julie's right.
And Julie, I heard from a birdie, you were not happy when that video came out from the news channel and showing all that stuff.
What bird?
I don't get that.
Can't give up our sources.
How upset were you that leaked, that you had gone that whole time until basically the 11th hour when it finally got out?
Well, I mean, I get it, right? I get it. TV stations want to break news. That is what they are there for. They are there to break news. And apparently they'd been trying and flying around for a whole week trying to get eyeballs in.
I didn't know that.
But part of the reason why I guess, I was upset and quite a few people were, they're our partners. We are in partnership with them. Exactly. They are the sister station of the network that works really hard to have the exclusive rights to break that news, and they betrayed their big sister. So, I just think that, but this is where it comes into. So when I was in college, I took this ethics class. And they ask you these questions of kind of in this situation, like, what would you do? And I always chose the path of not breaking the news for the sake of respecting a certain code. And oftentimes I stood alone. So that's like, I can't speak for anybody else. And if I was on their side, what do I want to break it to? Like, I can see why they want to. At the end of the day, it is what it is. We are who we are. But I thought that was a little bit of a rotten move. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
How hard was it to keep the name under wraps? Was it hard? And did you tell any of your closest friends? To be honest.
No, I wouldn't tell anybody. And I didn't feel the need to tell anybody either. Plus, like, heaven forbid we tell someone and then they just, out for the night, a little too cash.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't worth it to me. So
sure.
Is training camp going to be in Richmond again next year?
I don't know. I honestly, I was asking actually that question myself the other day because I enjoyed that. There's something cool to starting a season when you go away for camp. And maybe it's not the full 3 weeks, we just did a little bit last year, but maybe it's just, a good week. But I don't know. I know that they're working with, the city council and the government down there and it's also got to be a business decision, and they create that facility for us. So I think it's kind of cool to go away. I don't even know how Coach Rivera feels about it. I don't know if he likes going away or if he likes being back in Ashburn. But the question I have is I don't think when they've had it in Ashburn, they've ever been able to open their doors to a bunch of fans coming out. So you lose that aspect of having fans there, or can we host that in Ashburn? Like our practice facility is not that big and there's no parking. So I don't know how that would work. I don't know.
I just want to say this past training camp was the best training camp I've ever been to in my entire life. I've been to like 2 or 3. That was amazing. You guys did a remarkable job. That was phenomenal. So I just want to say
thank you very much.
Just the way that you, Jason, Tanya, everybody was interacting with the fans, making us feel important. Like we just weren't there because it's free. Like it was there because we actually, like, you guys care about your fans. It was accessible. Everybody was nice. It was just good. We felt important. We felt a part of the organization. And that's not just a fan.
And I mean, that's definitely our, one of our main motivations and everything is, what are we without the fan base? And we have to respect that. We have to listen to you and we have to try and get it right for you. Yeah. So,
okay.
And that's where we met, by the way, too. So
that's
we
where
all
I met you.
In training camp.
Yeah, that's
the three of us.
Making about us.
We met Trev. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, bringing people together.
I love it.
Speaking about fandom, you're a Florida gal, but you've been with Washington, for the last decade or so. Is there another team in your heart, or are you full on supporting Washington Commanders?
So growing up, and Stoner, you'd get this, the Jags weren't there.
That's right.
So I didn't have an NFL team. And my parents came from Michigan, and who just willingly picks up the Lions?
Man, I'm telling you, we're like this.
Always the worst, folks. So, we were college growing up in Jacksonville. You were Florida or you were Florida State. So I'm a Gator. I've always stayed a Gator, and I will bleed orange and blue, and I will go down with the ship, no matter what. So that's where my loyalty lies. That's where my fandom lies. I never had a fandom for a pro team. My family is all Jag fans, and I get that. They're still there. But of course, I want the Washington football team to be as successful and to go as far as they can. And ever since day one, that's what you want, because first off, it's good business. You always want the team you cover to do well. And then over the last, decade, I've really grown. First off, I respect the heck out of the fan base. I understand the pain because I've been there reporting, this year's going to be different. I hope.
Right.
And then it's like, oh.
Again,
more of the same.
Yeah, and this is the season again. It's high hopes. Like, we're gonna make it great. So I feel like I can relate to the fan base, because it stinks to have to cover and report on a team that's not fulfilling, what they promised or what they should, or giving you what you want. So yeah, I ride with the burgundy and gold.
Julie, are you keeping the number 11th pick in the draft this year, or are you trading it away?
Me personally,
Yeah.
I don't know. In all honesty, like I have not gotten into all the draft stuff.
Yeah.
And I usually, it is like, I want to know on draft night, okay, where are they going? How does this impact our team going forward? All these projections and mock drafts have never been my thing.
Right.
To me, I spend enough energy in my day keeping up with everything. At this point, I'm flat out exhausted. I want to disconnect. So I might just be like, I'm going to tee it up and let my guys go. I've got a lot of alumni that I work with that love getting into this draft. Let them be the experts, and let me just wait until draft day to know who we have. And then I'll do the interviews and welcome them to the team and say, all right, let's roll.
Yep. Very nice.
Well, before we let you go, Julie, make sure you write down our addresses, because that shirt that you're wearing is fire.
Yeah,
and you can certainly
merch.
feel free.
Hey!
Some merch.
I'm gonna DM you on Instagram my address, Julie.
I'm putting it on the back of all these bills I collect from going through tolls, because it doesn't register on my car and it ticks me off. And it's the principle that I'm fighting against them, because
That's right.
I've always had an easy pass. Why are you sending me tolls? But look, this is a booklet of tolls.
Oh my gosh!
All the more reason for this, new stadium to be in DC. You can take public transit.
Yeah, no tolls.
I mean, I got a new car and it won't register under the windshield.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's it.
And it just, I take it every day to work. So I racked up a lot, and it's, the DMV is very hard to deal with. They never have an answer for you. But so if I write your addresses on here, I might throw them away.
That's right.
I'm going to DM you on Instagram.
We'll start seeing some of those toll bills she has to pay.
Yeah, right. I'll send it for you. I'll send the toll bill with the Commander's gear.
Okay, it works.
We do want to thank Julie for your time. Again, this is the Senior Vice President for Media and Content for the Washington Commanders here on After the Whistle from Ref the District. I'm Nathan, that's Stoner, and he's Trevor. And until next time,
what?
Be a fan.